Got stuff, lots of stuff. These are the things that I need in order to do the show. Hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have much stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. We're going to go over a question from our good friend Scottum about my favorite pipe shape and why I choose the favorite, or why my favorite pipe shape is my favorite pipe shape. Then we'll talk about a cool little mention that the channel got in an article in the UK Spectator, pretty major publication. And then of course, we will have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. So let's get into it. Okay, upcoming videos. You can look forward to, on the main Stuff and Things channel, the first impressions video for SPC Virginia Jazz. I also just recorded the full review for this as well. So the first impressions video will be coming out this Wednesday. Then the Wednesday after, we will have a video about Alpaca wool socks. Paca sent some socks to me, and I've been wearing them now, and I'm going to give you my impressions of them. I can't do a super long-term review as far as their durability. Like I did that Darn Tough video a while back, and I've had Darn Tough socks for years, so I could really talk about how long they last and their warranty and everything. I can't really get into that with the Paca socks, so it'll mostly just be design, comfort, all that good stuff. The next week, we will have the full review of Virginia Jazz. And then we will eventually be doing a revisited episode for, where's the actual label? GLP's Quiet Nights. So we haven't touched on this for years now. I think I did this probably around the same time I reviewed Penzance, because this is often considered an alternative to Penzance by Esoterica. So it has to be, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years since I did that. So it's been a long time. We'll be revisiting that. And then on Stuff and Things Plays, I have finally finished From Software's Elden Ring. The game that I started, God, was it February of last year? It's been over a year that I've been playing this game. It is absolutely gigantic. It's been absolutely amazing. And this last week, I recorded the final episode, or at least the episode in which I beat the game. There might be more coming with that game. Eventually, there's probably going to be DLC. In fact, I know there's going to be DLC that we'll be doing. But it ended up being 187 episodes, and I finished. So, the thing is, I recorded 12 episodes for it in the last 2 weeks. So we have episodes for Elden Ring all the way through May 27th. May 27th will be the final, or at least for now, Elden Ring episode. Some of you may know that the new Zelda game, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, is coming out on May 12th. And I will be playing Breath of the Wild on the channel, but here's how it's going to work. Elden Ring goes till May 27th. Since I have a game, I need to be playing a game to make videos, to have a buffer. I'm going to be playing Minecraft for a month until the new Zelda comes out. So from May 27th until June 26th, you will have Minecraft episodes. And then on June 26th, you will have Zelda episodes. So it's about a month and a half after the game launches. That's not a good policy. I know I should be doing the gameplay when the game comes out to get into the zeitgeist, but that's just how it's going to be on the channel. I hope you guys don't mind. And that'll give you a chance if you want to play the game so you won't be spoiled. You can play it a little bit, and then I'll be jumping in after that. I just have to have this buffer zone for me. I need that little bit of space so I can be safe as far as posting my videos. And I just can't, my schedule being what it is, I do not have the ability to turn around. If the game comes out on Friday, the 12th of May, I can't have videos up for it that day. Like, it's just not going to happen. So hopefully you don't mind. But end of Elden Ring coming up, a short little Minecraft series, and then we're going to be getting into Zelda on June 26th. Lots of good stuff coming up. But now, gang, let's get into our first topic. if I can find it. Yes, this comes from our good friend Scottham by way of a super thanks that he left on a video. Thank you very much for that, Scottham. And Scottham says, for content's sake, could you speak on why you choose certain pipe shapes? I always thought the classic bent-shaped looked best. However, I find myself selling them nowadays and have fallen for billiards. Any thoughts? Well, I'm in the same boat, Scottham, except I don't know that I ever preferred bent shapes to straight shapes, but probably from the beginning, I have just been into the classic straight billiard, whether it be a saddle bit or a tapered bit. It's just the shape that I gravitate to the most. I have an example of a saddle bit, Savinelli Punto Oro Corallo de Mare. Saddle bit has the beautiful kind of barnacle encrusted look of the Corallo de Mare finish. And it's not a super long shank, not a super long stem, not a super hefty bowl. It's easy to clench. It's very easy to clean. It's easy to insert a pipe cleaner into if you are in the middle of a session and it gets too moist. It's just easy. I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me, but also just the shape. To me, it's a really classic shape, and I don't know, when I think of pipes, I think of things I would see on cartoons as a little kid, and the cartoons were obviously from like the 40s or the 50s, so they weren't contemporaneous with me growing up, but that was kind of what I thought of as a pipe. I think some people now, if they came up with like the Lord of the Rings movies, they think of super long bent church warden shapes. But for me, a pipe was that straight bent billiard, and you would see it like on the dad in a cartoon or something, and it would just be there like shaking as he talked. That to me is what a pipe always was, and that's what I gravitated towards, that kind of mid-century look. And I really love the classic Dunhill billiard. I think it's I'm forgetting the actual numerical designation for the classic Group 4 Dunhill billiard now. I will have to grab one of mine and look at it at some point and let you guys know. But Dunhill, I think, makes the most classic and well-proportioned straight billiard. But there are lots of other ones. I like Peterson ones, Savinelli ones are great. And yeah, I just go for them. I think maybe I prefer the saddle bit over the taper bit because it's a little easier to clench, but I could go either way. But that's why I prefer the straight billiard. I know some people might think that's boring, and some people think that a bent pipe hangs better or you can grip it better. I don't necessarily see that as the case. Unless your pipe weighs a pound, I don't think it's really an issue to have it clenched regardless of the shape. So yeah, I prefer the straight billiard and slightly prefer the saddle bit over the tapered bit. And I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. And now something kind of fun. I have to have my phone here because there's an article. I'm going to read you a little bit of it. But I guess it was... When was this? Was it on Monday morning? I think it was after I had posted the last Sunday STUFFandTHINGS. I got a few comments from viewers in the UK saying, hey, you've been mentioned in an article on the Spectator. It's like, what? I think I saw the comment when I was still in bed. Like I picked up my phone and looked at it. It's like, what, really? And so then I, had to get up and get ready for work and everything. And so I went back to my computer and, or actually I think I read the article on my phone initially, but I was kind of bleary-eyed. And it was a really cool article by this man called Robin Ashenden, and it was on the UK Spectator. I think it's the longest running weekly magazine still in existence. It's been around for a very, very, very long time. And it was really cool. I was quite pleased, and then I went back to respond to the comments that had mentioned this article on my video, and the comments were gone. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that YouTube got rid of them because there was a link, but usually if there is a link, it puts it into comments that I need to review to make sure that it's okay. And I'm wondering if maybe because of the subject matter, YouTube just got rid of the comments. I don't know. It seemed weird to me, but I wanted to thank the people who had pointed this out to me, but I don't know who you are anymore because your comments disappeared. But anyway, it's a really cool article. It's called "The Pipes Are Calling: Confessions of a Pipe Esser," but he did not use that euphemism for esser, or well, for S-M-O-K-E-R. And it's by Robin Ashenden from the 10th of April, 2023, from Spectator Life. And he has a little subtitle here: "Of all the vices I've explored, it's my favorite." I'm not going to read you the article because I want to drive some eyes on his actual article on the Spectator. But if you go down a little ways, where is it? He talks about, you know, some of the history of the pipe hobby and all that good stuff. And then he says, actually, quite a lot. Let's see. Were it not unhealthy and disapproved of in an anti-essing world, you'd wonder why more people weren't doing it. Actually, quite a lot are. You can find them on YouTube. Some look like they've given up and are just collapsing into a tea-saturated despond in a garden shed, but there are 1 or 2 stars as well. There's your, quote, good friend Bradley from the Stuff and Things channel, a laid-back Pacific Northwest construction worker and musician with a background in literature. His posts are hugely enjoyable, even philosophical at times. He seems to know the XYZ of tea production, or notebooks, or ink pens, or handguns. There's Mutton Chop Piper, looking like a 19th century barber, broadcasting out of a kind of Geppetto's workshop of pipes and blends in a soft southern accent. Or George Bruno, who I haven't heard of. From Listen, My Son, an Italian-American book lover, going, it seems, through a perpetual midlife crisis of image changing, but with the pipe habit constant throughout. I just love I loved his encapsulations of these channels. Obviously, I haven't seen George Bruno, but great description of Mutton Chop Piper, and an amusing description of me, I guess. And it was just cool to see. It's cool that the pipe hobby is mentioned so prominently in a publication that is so prominent itself, The Spectator. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the longest running weekly magazine in existence right now. I think it's been since the 18th century or something. It's been a very long time. So it's really cool. And Robin Ashenden, I had never heard of, but it says in his little bio here, I thought it was interesting. Robin Ashenden is founder and ex-editor of the Central and Eastern European London Review. He is currently writing a novel about Solzhenitsyn, Khrushchev's thaw, and the Hungarian uprising. So this is an actual intellectual who watches the channel and an accomplished writer. So it's very cool. It's always cool to hear from people, different walks of life, whatever walk of life, whatever your background, whatever you're into. It's just neat to see how broad the reach can be for YouTube. You put something out there and you never know who's going to be watching. So very cool. Thank you to Robin Ashenden. Thank you to the people who alerted me of this. I don't know if I ever would have found out if somebody hadn't told me. So very cool. So check out that article on The Spectator if you haven't read it yet. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at @SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. You can write to me via Patreon and go to the front of the line. You can leave a super thanks and go to the front of the line under this YouTube video. You can write to me via comments on YouTube. Send me feedback, questions, comments, concerns, all that good stuff. I read through every single comment. I try to respond to as many as I can, and I pick out things for the Sunday Stuff and Things. But first, we have a question via Patreon. This is from Corbin Bordner, our good friend. Corbin asks, have you ever reviewed St. Bruno Flake? And no, I have not. I need to get to that eventually. I'm sure I will. By the way, your review videos do have the YouTube reach to where if you search a tea that you haven't reviewed, videos still pop up that are maybe related or whatever. Pretty sure you're international and do affect the marketplace considering the size of the market. Just some algorithm observations and experiences. Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you, Corbin Bordner, for being a Patreon supporter and for writing in. I do notice if I search for a particular blend on YouTube that I have reviewed, my review will be one of the first things that comes up. So I don't think Google is throttling search results. I just think that as far as the YouTube algorithm, YouTube doesn't push any sort of tea-related video to people unless that person is actively searching for those things, or if all their subscriptions are pipe hobby related, then they might be getting suggestions. But As far as the general audience, I don't think they're getting a lot of suggestions to watch pipe-related videos, which makes sense algorithmically, but then also, you know, I get suggestions for weird random things all the time and things that I have no interest in, so I don't know, it's interesting. Next, via YouTube, we have a question from Dorian Gray. Interesting. I know you have enjoyed a good cigar. Have you ever had one that reminds you of your favorite tea? Not really. To me, cigars are so different tasting from pipe tea, and obviously there are some pipe teas that have, you know, cigar leaf in them. I'm thinking of like Billy Budd and stuff like that. But I haven't had a huge variety of different cigars. I think the ones I've had the most of are the Padron 2000s. I'm forgetting now. It's been a while since I had one. I just had to buy a bunch of new Boveda packs for my little Tupperware that I keep my cigars in because I realized I hadn't changed them in a while. But yeah, nothing really. To me, they're so distinctly different, and not very many pipe blends taste like cigars and vice versa. Next, from Artie. Since we are talking about blends here, can anyone please inform me of the Solani situation? It appears that most of the blends are not available since a year and a half ago. I have been waiting for the Virginia Perique blend from Solani for eternity, and it just never shows up. Same thing with Escudo. Appreciation in advance. Cheers, Pipers. And Artie, that is a very good question, and it's one that I have as well. I have wanted to get some aged Burley Flake from Solani for a very long time, and it has not been available. Does anyone out there know the current state of Solani? Are they still making blends? What's going on? Love to hear about that in the comments below. Now we have some feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from, okay, I always mispronounce your name, Mr. Westerhoff, and I think at one point I was saying Jorg. It's J-O-R-G. I'm pretty sure you were Swedish, and so I was saying Jorg, and then I think you corrected me and said it wasn't that, and then maybe it's George or Jorg? Could you re-correct me? Because I know you corrected my pronunciation once, and I'm screwing it up again. Maybe it's Jorg. Jorg Westerhoff? Let me know. But they say, the only tea, in my experience, that leaves a ghost that will stay in a pipe is a Lakeland blend. All other teas will lose the ghost in one or two bowls with another tea. I almost solely smoke Latakia blends, so for me, it's even less of a problem. And yes, we were talking about, last week, I gave an opinion that I thought would be controversial, where I said that I don't think pipe ghosting is really that big of an issue. Maybe if you S a lot of really gloopy aromatics, that could be an issue, but for the most part, it doesn't really matter. And most people tended to agree with me. I don't think there was anyone really in the comments who said that I was wrong, and I was kind of surprised by that. I thought a lot of people would be like, up in arms about that. But we have another example here from Fist of Belial. I only notice ghosting when I've S'd a blend that has a sweet casing added to it. I'll faintly taste it in the next bowl, but it goes away fairly quickly. I rarely S those though, because I dislike those blends and I have a cob dedicated to just those. I did find a lovely, almost pristine Neerup at a garage sale for $15, but it clearly had a super aromatic in it more than once. I can taste it just drawing from the stem. I need an exorcist to get that one out. Maybe I'll just try S-ing through it. There's almost no cake inside to scrape off anyway. Interesting. Thank you, Fist of Belial. Now from Muggle Toast. On the topic of ghosting, I have a cob that I S vapors out of, and recently got some of C&D's The Beast and had a bowl of that. And a week later, I tried to enjoy some Windjammer in the same cob, and man, did that beast ghost. It was like I packed a bowl of Beast. And that is one blend that people mentioned as being very strong and lingering. Next, from MDoftheNorth. Congrats on beating Melania. Or Malakath. Both completely suck. I've beaten everybody now. Well, I don't know if I've done every boss, but I've done all the main ones. On that note, and I hope it's not a spoiler, these are Elden Ring bosses, there is probably a solution to Kevin's flamey problem, but does require some revisiting and reloading of certain rotty areas. Oh, don't worry. Kevin solved that problem. You'll see. Completely agree about ghosting. You have to watch the Elden Ring series if you want to know what we're talking about. Completely agree that ghosting is not actually much of a thing. I used to be fairly laid back about it, but did used to segment pipes into Latakia and non-Latakia. I've since ended that habit, and honestly, I haven't noticed a difference. If nothing else, it has opened up my pipe collection to S whatever I like in whatever pipe I like. Thanks for weighing in. And thank you for weighing in, MDoftheNorth. Now we have some feedback from last week's Timeless Style Levi's Trucker Jacket video. Please check that video out if you haven't already. Those are the videos that take a lot more production, take a lot more time. I try to do a somewhat amusing little skit at the beginning of each episode or each one of those videos, and I did that as well this time, and I think it turned out well. So check out the timeless style Levi's trucker jacket video. Big Country Briar says, looking like you should have been in The Outsiders. Bradley got a blade on him. They'll fight fair so long as you don't pull no blade. I've had a jean jacket most of my life, but was never as cool as in the mid-'80s when the entire back panel was covered with your favorite band. Yeah, a lot of people mention that, either airbrushing things, cutting off the sleeves, having it as a jean vest, airbrushing bands and stuff on the back, or putting big patches on. I was too young for that trend in the 80s. I was barely alive. Well, I was alive, but I was barely cognizant of anything in the 80s, so interesting. Lone Wolf Piper says, best thing we used to do is get an artist to airbrush a New York-style graffiti piece, if that was your thing, or your favorite band's album cover on the back. Cut the sleeves, and that was a huge 80s, early 90s trend. I had quite a few. And Tom Brown says, oh my, the very first part-time job I had was in 1969, selling men's clothing at a local store for 85 cents an hour. Yes, you read that correctly. Back then, Levi's clothing was a fair traded item, which meant that if Levi's caught you selling for less, you lost the entire line. The jacket sold for the same price as the unwashed straight-leg jeans, $5.50. Whoa. So even with inflation, I think I figured this out, that would be like 46, 47 bucks now, but the jean jackets go for about $100 now, so put inflation on top of it and then double it. So back then, yeah, anyway, things have gotten a lot more expensive. We sold them all day long, as did the working man store across the street. Only in America. Great video. Thanks, Tom. It's always cool to hear those experiences. All right, gang, thank you so much for all the feedback, the comments, and the questions. Please keep it coming in. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we shout out our Patreon supporters who support the channels at $25 or more a month. Remember, if you would like to support the channels, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. Helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video, the lights that are shining upon me, blends for review, and all that good stuff. And this week, we would like to shout out Kirk Crompton, Glenn Dunnington, Jason Buckner, MDoftheNorth, David Gaudreau, Nick Papageorgio, Finn O'Hagan, and Ryan McFadin. And then, of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month. People like Bob Magee. And we will never forget our Hall of Fame member and dearly departed friend, Peter Straub. Gang, thank you so much for watching and leaving comments and all that good stuff. Please check out the first impressions video of Seattle Pipe Club, Virginia Jazz. It'll be coming up this Wednesday. Elden Ring series continuing until May 27th. Is that what I wrote down? Yeah. And then all sorts of other good stuff coming up on both channels. But until next time, until we meet again, I'm your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.